We're live, so I'll just start the normal process of letting our Telegram group know. That's what I'm gonna do right now. Let you guys know live on YouTube. And I'll bring some of you guys here, and then once you guys come into the live chat, obviously I'll just start addressing the questions at that point. The reason I start these videos talking to myself is because there's those of you watching this as well who aren't seeing this live, right? So when I start a video and there's no one here yet, there you go. Mimi, you're the first one here. Mimi, you can ask questions, right? As it fills up in the live stream, it'll just get busier, right? Please like the live stream, guys. Volchi, thanks. That's right. Please like the live stream, guys, and that'll jack up the algorithm and bring people here. I appreciate it. Yeah, just let our Telegram group know. Ask questions in the live chat as well. That'll kick off the live stream. What's going on, guys? Give the video a like if you're coming in. That'll help the algorithm out. Jack up the live stream. There you go. Just ask questions in the chat bar there. We'll just do a quick hour of Q&A, right? Give the video a like, guys. What's going on, Safe? Hanish. Hi, Mike. Just checked out your farm modules. Absolutely love it. Yeah, Hanish, I agree. The farm modules are good, right? Those of you studying for farm, right? You want some pointers on farm. Just there's the 50 farm modules on my website. They're free. They're fucking excellent. And then there's obviously the my farm PDF. I don't have a PDF, but the YouTube MCQs. That's what you're going to do. And there's the Farm Anki, but those, of course, those are paid. Judson, hello, sir. Good morning. Guys, if you're coming into the live stream here, give it a like, and it'll jack up the algorithm. Safe, Ali, 2 months out, any advice? Safe, are you doing step 1 or step 2? You think I just magically fucking know which step you're preparing for, right? I mean, but look, in all seriousness, well, that was serious on my end, but when I get asked a noob question without context, by default, I just assume it's an ESL who is studying for step 1. Okay, that's just what I assume. If you're 2 months out for step 1, you should still be in QBank, truthfully. You should be in QBank and you should still be going through my PDFs and my YouTube MCQs. It's about a month and 4 days out from your exam onward that I want you doing the NBME exams 20 through 24, free 120, then 25 through 31. If you're studying for step 2, you should be on the Clinical Masters series forms while you're 2 months out, right? That's what I'd be doing. And then you're going to go into, obviously, 9 through 14 when you get closer. William, hey, Dr. Mike, I'm slow with UWorld. Any tips other than blocks of 10? I've said, guys, do blocks of 10. Untimed tutor random, and you can knock out chop out those blocks of 10. I'm not going to give like a 15-minute explanation in that specific process right now. I know some of you have heard me talk about it already, but if I have a student where he or she is still unable to make progress through QBank despite already doing blocks of 10, then sometimes I'll just tell the student, well, if you can't handle that, we're going to switch you into timed blocks of 40, which a lot of students don't want to do, right? And I've said I don't want you doing timed blocks for macro retention. I want you doing untimed tutor random. But if I tell you we're going to force the quota of getting you through minimum 40 questions a day by doing them in timed mode, then that'll just get your quota out of the way. Maybe if you only review 30, I say, I don't give a fuck. There has to be some accountability at the end of the day. So that's the last resort, is going to timed blocks to force the quota. And then I don't give a fuck if you can't get all through your explanations. Faisal, hi. Guys, if you're joining the live stream, give the video a like. I appreciate it. Jimmy Fernandez, Mike, are you into blow-up dolls? What a laughable question. The answer is no. Swin7, I don't need blow-up dolls when I have enough female interaction without that. Swin7, hi. What do you think of just doing the new CMS 5 through 8 and the new NBME forms 9 through 13? Well, apparently 14 is out, Swin7. Instead of doing all of them, I said I want you guys doing all of them. So you're not going to do just 5 through 8. I want you doing 1 through 8. I have a scratchy fucking throat. I was literally eating like I had some granola before this live stream, so it's like in my it's like scratchy. Um, but you're also gonna do NBME 6 through 8. Okay, so I really want you to do that. Jose de Castro, 1 month out, step 2, doing, and you're gonna do all the CMS forms twice as well. 1 month out, step 2, doing good. Only NBMEs at this point. Well, you should be on the second pass of all the CMS forms if you're in the final month, and then you'll be doing 9. You'll be ending on 9 through 14. I've said that for step 2 prep. The way it's going to go is you're going to do all of UWorld or Amboss, then you're going to do all the CMS forms. It's going to take you 3 to 3.5 weeks. If you're doing 2 forms per day, there's 45, 50 forms. NBME 6 through 8 offline, a double pass of all the CMS forms, free 120, 9 through 14. I've said that's what I want you to do. Dezoa, Mike Bro, I'm almost 2 weeks out and memorizing all the NBMEs 20 through 24. Am I on the right track? I would say, you should be on 25 through 31 at this point. I've said in the final month it's going to be, yes, 20 through 24, then free 120, then 25 through 31. But presumably you would have finished 20 through 24 at this point. If you've done the inverse where, you guys have started with the online NBMEs, I do want you doing the offline ones, 20 through 24. So however you choose to do them, just get 20 through 31 done and free 120 in the final month. Okay. I like giving a month for most students. Hayat Ahmed says, any tricks about how we can slowly increase study time? What do you mean by that? Are you saying like are you implying that you procrastinate? Is that what you're implying? And that you're not able to get through like 8+ hours in a day? I said in the last live stream that if you're having trouble getting through a study day or you're procrastinating, etc., one tactic you can implement is to physically be in a geographic location, like at the library for 8 hours. I've said that. So like be at the library for 8 hours. Don't allow yourself to leave the building. Be at a cafe for 8 hours. You can't leave. That's what I did during my 2CK prep. Like I forced myself to be like physically in the library for 8+ hours. That's what I did. And I had to be in that compound, in that building. And that forced the 8-hour study day because I was doing UWorld for step 2 and it was so fucking boring. I like couldn't, I didn't like getting through it. And I also, that's when I developed the tactic of blocks of 10 because by doing blocks of 10, that's how I knocked out the QBank. And that's how I know it's a good tactic for those of you who are ADHDing the fuck out going through QBank. Volchi, you were talking about the Derm PDF. I checked it out yesterday. That shit is dope. No fucking shit, it's dope. The high yield Derm PDF is fucking excellent. I don't think, like, how many of you have gone through high yield Derm PDF? It's loaded with micro as well. You should go through high yield Derm PDF. That's a highly fucking underrated PDF. Like, people don't mention high yield Derm. Fucking excellent PDF. Manthal Patel, how can you become a doctor in Japan? Well, you have to be deeply fluent in Japanese, like deeply fluent in Japanese. And you'd have to know etiquette as well. You'd pretty much you'd have to like grow up here, I think, to like be a doctor in Japan, an actual practicing doctor in Japan. You either would have to be like exceedingly fucking brilliant at language where you're able to pick it up at that level. Okay. Like there's a difference even between like, let's say a high school graduate who speaks English versus like someone who graduates med school, or is in med school with all the vocabulary of like, there's a lot of vocabulary in medicine. Like you'd have to know Japanese very fucking deeply well. Pavit Momi, would you recommend any step 1 specific and all the propriety and etiquette, as I said? Pavit Momi, would you recommend any step 1 specific review for step 2? Someone asked this question yesterday and I said no. Maybe you asked it yesterday and maybe you like left the live stream before you got my answer, but I've said that for step 2. You could look at the immunology PDF, right? Because that's for pediatrics. If you know the mechanisms of action, what the fuck am I saying? The mechanisms of the immunodeficiencies, right? Like e.g. CD40 ligand, CD40 interaction for hyper IgM deficiency, right? Like they ask that stuff in specific detail, or like deficiency of cell-mediated immunity for chronic mucocutaneous candidiasis. Like they like that stuff on step 2, even though it sounds very step 1-esque. So you've heard the NBME is throwing more step one into step two. Since making step one pass fail, I really easily passed step one, but aiming for 260 on step two. I mean, I would just focus on step two content, but as I just said, you could look at the immunodeficiencies for pediatrics for 2CK. And by the way, tangentially, there's step one esque material showing up on step three. That's feedback I've been receiving as well. Okay, that you know, anecdotally, I mean, I had a student get like what's the mechanism of action of an aminoglycoside, like 30S on fucking step three. Like, what the fuck's that about? The first day, it's speculated that there's step one esque material in there. Ahmed Eleman, hey Mike, how difficult is it to match in a psych for a USIMG? That shouldn't be dramatic. I mean, all you need to do is pass the USMLEs for internal medicine, family medicine, psych, peds, obs-gyn. You just have to pass. You get like a 217 on step two, 214 pass. And you can match just fine in psych. Pavit Momi, I write in 3 weeks. Jahonger, Ishonkulov. Can I ask you about the match? How about you just fucking ask your question rather than asking me if you can ask a question, right? That like eliminates a step. Like I'm not even kidding. I literally had a situation where like someone will like DM me on Instagram asking me if they can ask me a question. And that requires more of my fucking time to be like, yes, you can ask your question, And then I just ignore and then they'll like unfollow or something. I'm like, good, get the fuck out of here. So Navita A, any chances of matching after failing step one? Yeah, you can match after failing step one. I've talked about this. You just can't have entitlement. Okay. If you don't match, it's often linked to entitlement, meaning that you have to recognize, you might not match into Mount Sinai or Einstein, or Brigham Women's Hospital. You might have to, apply to South Dakota or something. Not that there's anything wrong with that, maybe I think South Dakota would be pretty fucking awesome to live in for like, you could do go to South Dakota. But you can't have entitlement as far as location is concerned. And you also have to apply into prelim/transitional years, which are 1-year programs, not just categorical years. If people don't match, it's oftentimes that they will only apply into full-length categorical programs. For example, you get your, let's say, high 250s on step two, and you apply into dermatology, and you apply to like 80 dermatology 4-year programs, and you don't match, and you're all depressed. It's like, well, how about rather than just applying to 80 4-year categorical derm programs, under all those, you also apply into 1-year preliminary in preliminary programs in internal medicine, as an example, and also transitional years, which are just like a 5th year med school, okay, like just rotations. And while you're in that 1-year program at an institution, you can maybe get another letter, do some like research in derm or something. You get a year of clinical experience. You can pivot, and then you can apply. Let's say at that program, make connections while you're there. The process isn't always so linear. Okay, so people can match into prelim and transitional years, but they're always so hardcore about the categorical programs because they want to streamline to the attending level income, right? It's always about the cash. People want their cash. Just do a prelim year, transitional year. That'd be fun, right? You could go to like do a fucking year in like Kentucky or something. That'd be cool, right? And then you go your categorical program. If you go to like California, where the fuck you want to go, but like then you can be like, I fucking lived in Kentucky for a year. It's fucking awesome. That's cool. It's a good life experience. Let's see. Scroll up. Where was I? Some guys, sometimes when you guys post a question in the chat moves. Hi, doctor. Just a question. If I were to study for Comlex 2, you recommend writing step 1 before step 2, right? The answer is yes. Never sit step 2 before step 1. How would I maximize step 1 during rotations while studying for Comlex 2? Very niche fucking question. If I made a video on this, it would get absolutely no fucking views because like how many people are asking that question? I don't recommend studying for Comlex 2 and Step 1 at the same time. You have to get the level 1 exams out of the way first, okay? Um, if it's a if there's no way around that and you have to co-study for um, Step 1 and Comlex 2, then I would focus on internal medicine concepts for Comlex 2. Ali H till I graduate. How competitive is neurology residency? Do board step score? Does your 2CK matter? No fucking shit it matters, LEH. Uh, rather than my subjective answer, objectively, all the match data is online. You can find that. You can find all the match data online. Every residency, IMG, AMG. Okay, you can get all that data in terms of like the scores, the percentiles for 25th to 75th centiles for those who match, didn't match in the different specialties and what they're yeah, I mean, all that information is objectively in reports like NRMP match data or MP, yeah, something like that. NMRP, MRMP doesn't fucking matter, right? It sounds the same. Let's see. Sheikh Shahid. Hello, Mike. How to study medicine for USMLE? Is Harrison important? It's not fucking important. I literally think you asked this question like a week ago. That like who is studying Harrison? I mean, what is this, like 1996? Like, who told you to study Harrison? Like, laughable. Okay. I mean, I mean, how do I like respond to that? Simulation has to like insert, those types of levities, right? Like those types of troll questions. That's like how it works. Vakya Ravanur, 1 month out. Good to see you again, Vakya. 1 month out from step 2 and just narrowly passed NBME 6 and 7. I'd want to know what you got when you say narrowly passed. You mean 2 teens? Will memorizing the CMS and NBME exams be enough to pass? I think so. Like at this point, you're a month out. You should. You're going to have to obviously get through 8 through 14. Your situation would entail sitting down with you. I'd have you do NBME 8. And then I'd have you work through CMS forms and then finish on 9 through 14. That's how I would do it. You could focus on intern because you're not going to get all the CMS forms done if you do another pass during this final month. So I'd focus on redoing the internal medicine, surgery, family medicine forms, then pediatrics if you find time. But ultimately, you have to do 9 through 14. And I would spend 2 days per NBME. I give students 2 days per NBME exam. Guys, if you're coming to the live stream, please give it a like. Jack up the algorithm. Solha Fatima. Hi, Sir Mike. I have a question. I have an attempt and failed my step 1. Currently, I'm done with 60% of UWorld, average 64% correct. That's not bad. I'm getting about 80 wrong on NBME 20. Okay, that's like basically the minimum. You're like borderline fail pass, yes. When would you advise me to take the test? Well, what you're going to do, I don't know, have you sat all the NBMEs prior to that first fail you had, right? So I'd want to know the validity of all the NBME exams you have remaining. Like if you've already sat the fucking NBMEs, then your scores are to be taken with a grain of salt. But I'd want you to take NBME 21. We'd see how you go on that. I've talked about this many times that we take your scores and convert them to 3-digit performances, right? Using Google Images. You go to Google Image, you type in NBME 20 score conversion Reddit, NBME 21 score conversion Reddit. You get a graph. You're going to put your number of wrongs into the best fit line equation. You're going to get a 3-digit score. I allow you to fail NBMEs 20 and 21. I allow you to get a 190 to 196. The pass mark internal equivalent 197 for step 1. So I allow you to fail, get a 190 to 196 on NBMEs 20 and 21. And then you can proceed to NBME 22, but you must get a 197 or higher on all NBMEs 22 and up. And then if you don't break 197 on all NBMEs 22 and up, I pull you out of the NBMEs and I have you do another month of QBank, whether that's UWorld Incorrects, whether it's switching you over to AMBOSS. If the student is discontent with that idea and says, I don't want to spend another month on QBank, my response is, well, fucking do well on the NBMEs, then you don't have to do that. Okay. Otherwise, you're just going against, it's discharge against medical advice type stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, then by the time you get to NBME 27, 28-ish, I want to see performances 205, 210 plus. I don't want to see YOLO into the exam. So you got to get scores 205, 210 plus. I want to see a buffer. I don't want you to just pass. I want to get a buffer. So you'd be looking at potentially another month of QBank if your NBME performances aren't where they need to be. As I said, I'd have to sit down with you because you've probably sat various NBMEs before as well. And you also do free 120. Amir Chikimi, how fucked is my life? Spending 10 hours studying USMLE daily and then having nothing to do but watching your live talking about USMLE. That's funny, right? And you wrote LOL. I mean, that's like normal studying for USMLE. Like when I studied for step 1, I didn't do I studied the entire fucking year. Like I was 24, 25. I was 25 at the time. So I'm 36 now, but I was 25 at the time. And I spent the whole fucking year studying like 8 to 12 hours a day. Talked about that. I had a week off the whole year. That's like normal. It should be a full-time job studying for USMLE. I talked about that when I was in med school. And I had a girlfriend at the time where she would go out and like party, and then I'd be studying, and then she would just like come back at like 2 a.m. while I was like finished studying or whatever. She'd been partying. Anelli Tajirnia, the fuck you say your name? Tajirina. Anelli, hi. What would you recommend a week out from step 1? High yield arrows. You're gonna do that. You gotta do high yield arrows. And you should be focused on obviously the latter NBMEs, like 25 through 31, right? Abdullah Abohimed. Hey, got my step 1 result and I passed. Thanks, man, for all your content. Also happen to find your I'm not reading that part. Actually, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with your sentiment there. I didn't drop that shit. But you're probably like religious or something, so you're like against that, or you're like a beta simp. I'm just joking, Abdullah. Chill. No, seriously, Abdullah, I'm joking. Just relax. You get some guys who are like umbrageous, or like irascible regarding like, the notion of my unconventional hobbies. What do you want me to tell you? Memo JR, if I literally don't know anything about medicine, should I start with UWorld directly? The answer is yes. I want you starting with QBank. And you're going to do my PDFs alongside my YouTube MCQs. Ali H, just an interesting question. Why do infectious disease doctors get paid less than internal medicine doctors despite doing a fellowship? No fucking idea. All right. How's that as an answer? AP Sans, love you, buddy. Good to see you, AP Sans. Good to see you. That's right. You did. You DM me and you had told me you were AP Sans. I don't remember what we were talking about though, but it's good to see you. Saman Avizov. Hey, Mike, first of all, thanks for your site, which is superior and cool, adequate, without tons of low yield information. I did a mistake and did UWorld in tutor mode instead of. The fuck are you asking right now? What's your question, dude? Tanya Thakur, 170. Hey, Mike, what do you suggest, Amboss or UWorld? I've said they're non-superior to each other. You can choose either. Can I skip UWorld if I get Amboss done with? Yeah, I've said just do one or the other. Mimi NKA, good to see you back, Mimi. You're pretty nervous about step 2, Pret, given how important it is. How do I deal with that? The answer is you handle it because there's no alternative, right? This aspect of preparing for USMLE is not just about actual knowledge augmentation, but also about psychologic management, stability. Like I've used this analogy before that if you're in a surgery and there's some like perturbing variable that presents itself, you have to be able to, handle the situation, not get emotional and like finish the surgery, right? It's like that with USMLE prep. It's like you have to be able to handle the stressors, because if you get bogged down in like the emotional stress of preparing for the USMLE, then that screens you out, right? So the exam, it's not just about your knowledge base and getting a good score, but it's also about, part of becoming a doctor is uh, being able to handle your emotions and being able to drive forward with your goals, and yeah, just developing resilience and discipline in that regard. Mohith B, how you doing, Mike? Good to see you, Mohith B. Sasha Logan. Hey, Mike. I'm an IMG. Took step 1 2 weeks ago with only 16% completed on UWorld. That was audacious. Averaged 45 to 50% and crammed first aid for 3 months prior to exam. Obviously, I failed. Yeah, no fucking shit. How to reboot plus pass. You know what? It's actually good news in your case that you failed based on this situation. Now how does that make sense? I'll tell you. It's because you just simply didn't prepare. So, I mean, of course you didn't pass. It would be worse if you had said, did you world twice, did MMEs 20 through 31, did all your PDFs, did all your YouTube MCQs, like did all this prep, and you still didn't pass. That's worse, right? So you're asking how to reboot. The answer is you got to fucking do UWorld, you know? Like you can't hop off the street and sit like a bar exam for law school or something. Like you would have to do like, you know, you can't just do like some practice bar exams, a couple NBMEs, and then be like, all right, I'm going to sit the bar exam. No, you'd have to fucking sit for like 6 months in a fucking room somewhere or at a cafe, and you do like UWorld for law school, and then you build a foundation. You only did 16%. So no shit, like you're not ready for the USMLE. Like it's you know, it's audacity. I'm not blaming you. I'm saying like, there should be guidance as far as someone inculcating the points that you have to do QBank, finish QBank, and then you're going to go into the NBMEs. You're going to do 20 through 24 free 120, and then 25 through 31. Then you go on to say that you're weak in biochem, immuno, and genetics. Okay, I mean, that's fine. But I also look at that, and what goes through my mind is, do you even know like basic endocrine, right? I'll get students coming to me and they're like, I don't know like genetics or biochem. And I'm like, cool. Do you know like SIADH versus DI? Do you know like Addison versus Kahn? Do you know Hashimoto versus Graves, right? Like you got to know those basics, you know? So nothing wrong with improving your biochem, immuno, and genetics, but you need to not worry about what feels hard, quote unquote, and you have to focus more on big picture concepts such as your cardio, pulm, renal, gastro, right? Because I guarantee I could ask you basic fucking questions from like seemingly easier organ systems or topics, and you'd get those wrong, right? So people fucking ask me about like Michaelis-Menten curves or like, Kaplan-Meier curves or whatever. Lineweaver-Burke plot, but then like they don't fucking know what Addison disease is. It's like it's a troll. It's laughable. And then I just give like sarcastic or snide remarks because that's essentially what it becomes. It's just when you get the same questions. Let me see. Last where I was in the chat. Suman, hello Mike. What's the best way to review NBME? I said you're going to make Anki cards from your incorrects. It's a long discussion. You're going to finish QBank. You're going to do NBMEs. So about a month and 4 days out, you're going to start with NBME 20. So you're going to do NBME 20 offline. And I don't want to talk about like the scores per se and whether you're going back to QBank or not. I've talked about that a lot. But what you're going to do is NBME 20, you're going to screenshot all of your incorrects from NBME 20 into an Anki deck. You're going to make one ginormous Anki deck, not separate Anki decks, one ginormous Anki deck for 20 through 24 and free 120. Okay, so 20 through 24, that's 5 NBMEs, free 120, so that's 6 assessments, one ginormous Anki deck, and then you're going to make a second fresh Anki deck for 25 through 31. So you're going to do NBME 20 over 2 days. You're going to screenshot all your incorrects. Let's say you get 70 wrong into the Anki deck. Okay. You're going to go on to NVMe 20 and you're going to review the whole thing, obviously. And the Anki deck, you're not going to screenshot the unanswered questions into it. You're going to screenshot the already answered / highlighted questions into it. So, for example, the front card, the 70 cards, the front card will just be like D is already fucking highlighted. Okay. And the back card can be blank or just D again. I don't want you writing explanations. You're not going to have time. Now you say, well, what's the point of that? I don't want you to pretend as though you've never seen the questions before. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to look at the cards and say, well, D's fucking highlighted. It's clearly cardiac tamponade that's highlighted. I chose pericarditis. And you say, well, you spend 20 seconds to yourself saying, why was it one versus the other? You say cardiac tamponade, Beck triad, hypotension, JOD, muffled heart sounds, plus or minus pulsus paradoxus, whereas pericarditis, pain that's worse when leaning back, but better when leaning forward, etc. So you have you talk to yourself for 30 seconds as to why it was one versus the other. And then you go to the next card, okay? And whether you're focusing on all the other answer choices or not is a gray area. If there's other high yield diagnoses like cor pulmonale, okay, high yield diagnoses, yes, make sure you can differentiate those. If they're weird fucking enzymes, I don't care. But 70, you're going to screenshot all those 70 incorrects into the Anki card, into the Anki deck. You're going to go on NVMe 21. You're going to repeat the process, and you're going to screenshot those incorrects from 21 into the same deck as 20. So it's 2 days per exam. So let's say the first day you do all of NVMe 21, all 4 blocks. You start the review process. Let's say you only get through 2 blocks of review. Okay. Well, the second day is you continue the review of NVMe 21. So you do the latter 2 blocks. And after you finish the review of 21 in its entirety and you screenshot all 70 of those incorrects in the same deck as 20, you're going to redo those incorrects from 20 that you just did 2 days earlier. Then you're going to go on to NVMe 22. You're going to repeat the process and screenshot those incorrects into the deck with 20 and 21. The second day of the review, you're going to, after you finish everything from 22, you're going to redo all the incorrects from 20 and 21. I call this stacked review. So the reason I have to extensively articulate this is because some students don't get it. Other students okay, I get it. Okay. Some students don't fucking get it. All right. So for example, you finish 24, finish the review. You're going to redo all the incorrects from 20, 21, 22, 23. You finish free 120, all the review. You're going to redo all the incorrects from 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So you're basically memorizing the incorrects. You just fucking did them repeatedly daily. So you should be able to blast through them. Okay. So you're going to finish 20 through 24 free 120 in that manner. Then you're done with Anki for the time being. And then the day after you finish free 120, free 120 can only needs to be 1 day. After you finish free 120, you're going to have a day where you just do NVMEs 20 and 21 back to back, 400 questions as though you've never done the exams before. And you're not doing any Anki. So that might seem overwhelming or beleaguering, right? It's not, because let's say you got 70 wrong per form. Well, that's 140 out of 400 that you already fucking know easily because you just reviewed them however many times the past several days. And then the remaining 260 out of 400, well, you got them right the first time, so they shouldn't be as bad for you. You're still going to get plenty wrong. You might get 30 wrong per form. Students are surprised by that. I'm not. It's like if you did UWorld twice, which I don't recommend, but you would still only get 85% or something. Maybe you get 60% the first time, then you get 88% or 86% the second time. And you're like, wow, I still got a lot wrong. So that's how it works. So you're going to do 20 and 21 again, and then no Anki, just review them. And then 22, 23 on the next day, back to back, 400 questions, no Anki. And then the third day, you're going to do 24 and free 120 back to back, 320 questions, no Anki. So you not only have you just fucking done 20 to 24 free 120 and stacked reviewed all the incorrects through Anki, but then holy shit, you're doing a double pass of all those forms by literally doing them back to back again and consolidating. And that also builds pacing, okay? Because it'll build your ability to, time yourself and, be able to hop through lots of questions. So when you finish the double pass, I said 20, 21 on the same day, 22, 23, same day, 24 free 120 the same day for the double pass. When you finish that third day with the 24 and free 120, and then you go on to NVMe 25, the door closes forever on 20 through 24 and free 120. And you're never looking at those forms again for the rest of your entire life. Now you have a fresh second Anki deck of 25 through 31. You're going to repeat this process, okay? So 25, you just screenshot those incorrects and do a fresh Anki deck. That's it. That's all you have to do. And maybe it's a lighter day. right? Like maybe the second day you're reviewing NBME 25, like there's not much else you need to do. Well, that's a lighter day. That's okay because you had heavy days leading up to that. So to have a lighter day is fine. You're working every day, but you have a lighter day that can help like avert burnout, right? Not every day has to be like 14 hours. So you're going to go through the NBMEs, the process repeats. So you finish NBME 28, let's say, you screenshot those into the deck with 25 through 27. You're going to redo all the incorrects from 25, 26, 27. Okay, you get my point here. And then when you finish NBME 31 ultimately, and you've reviewed all those incorrect stacked review, you're going to have a day where there's no Anki, where you do 25, 26 the same day again, 27, 28 the same day again, 29, 20, and 29, 30 the same day again. And then you do 31 on a day all by its own. And that's it. And that can be a lighter day, quote unquote. And then I'll usually have like, let's say, a biostats day. That could be, you do 2-3 hours of biostats, check the box on that. And you say, well, I'm good with biostats. I don't need to review that anymore. Okay. Then you can just turn it into a custom study day. You could say to yourself, it's like jack fucking shit at like cardio or neuroanatomy or something. Spend the rest of the day doing that. The next day can be a lighter day. And then the following day, you'll have your real USMLE. That's an example of a final prep schedule. It's one example of how it can be. I get students coming to me where maybe they've already done some of the NBME exams, or, maybe their scores are really fucking weak. Okay. And so I might have them do a couple NBMEs, go back to QBank, come revisit the NBMEs. But in short recapitulation for that, you're not only are you doing stacked review of the Anki from 20 through 31, including free 120. So 20 through 31, that's 12 NBMEs, 200 questions per form, right? So 2,400 questions, and then, times 2, 4,800 questions. And then you're doing free 120 twice as well. So 5,040 questions. So you're doing all those fucking exams twice. And then on top of it, all the stacked reviews. So you're doing like, I don't know, 6,000 fucking questions in the final month. And then students wonder why, like, I can get students to pass, right? It's because you're fucking memorizing NBME content. Meanwhile, you get other, cucks out there who are like, oh, don't memorize the NBMEs. Bad fucking idea. You're going to memorize the NBMEs because that's how you're going to get maximal score augmentation, right? All right. So, Suman, I hope that answered your question. Soha phase, if done with UWorld step 2, first pass 68%. Hitting 245 in NBMEs after doing all your incorrects, is it worth it to do a second pass to hit a score of 260 plus? No, I don't want you doing a second pass of QBank. You're asking second pass of all the NBMEs. Well, I've said that for step 2, you're going to do just QBank once, and then you're going to do CMS pass, all of them, 3 to 3.5 weeks, 6 through 8, second pass of all the CMS forms, free 120, 9 through 14. That's how you're going to do it if you're post-grad. If you're on rotations, obviously, it's going to be subject specific based on your shells. But you're still going to do you're going to do all the CMS forms for each rotation twice prior to each shelf. So, you're going to do, for each rotation, the QBank for that subject, like PEDS, you're going to do my PDF in PEDS. You're going to do the YouTube playlist I have for PEDS, all the questions. You're going to do all 8 CMS forms twice. Dr. Aga Khan, is there a chance I can get into residency without U.S. clinical experience in U.S. research and LORs, only with my step 1 and step 2 CK 270 plus? It's laughable. Yes, you can get in with that. I mean, yeah, it's like levels the playing field, I mean, people at institutions look for different things. Like they really do. Some institutions just like are happy with a fucking like autistic, like high scorer. Like they're just like, we're happy to have someone who's like capable of like performing. But they're going to look at I've said they're going to look at your personal statement. If you want a big name institution, like obvious big names like Ivies, etc., you're going to have research to set you apart. But even that's like a gray area because it's not about, I wouldn't say it's about number of articles. It's about impact, because people who actually are involved in research, who actually, not like, nominal ostensible bullshit, like people who actually have like research involvement know that depending on like the lab or like, your advisor, some people can get like 24 articles. Holy shit, you're amazing. And it's like, you didn't do jack fucking shit. Okay. Whereas someone else has like one impactful paper. So It's more about impact, I would say, if you're applying to a top school. For the vast majority of schools, research, it's not a huge deal. Um, yeah, but you have to write a good personal statement, and you have to not come across full of yourself. That's the most important thing. You have to demonstrate that you're a team player, that you don't have hubris. You have to communicate adversity, communicate that you're just not about you, okay? And you don't want to talk yourself up. People get things wrong. People think that like their personal statement is about talking themselves up, about like saying why they're a good candidate or like what they did and like all this stuff, that like makes them qualified. It's like, no, your personal statement is going to be talking about how you're just a team player and that you like working with people, and you're going to talk about adversity, and you're not going to come off about you. It's not fucking about you. If you come off about yourself, it's a negative. Okay. So it's in my view, the personal statement is a negative. It's a negative screening measure. Okay. A negative selection, like the thymic medulla. You're not going to appeal or stimulate any program director or board member. No one's going to read your personal statement and be like enraptured or like, like, oh my God, this person's like amazing, their story, like we want them. That's not how it works. What they're going to do is read your personal statement and just say, does this person come off about themselves or like about themselves, or like, do they come off like they're interested in, working on a team? Do they demonstrate adversity in their history? Like, how do they come off that way? That's what matters. Suraj Gosai, 1 week from step 3. Any tips? Um, Obviously you should do the step 3 NBME. You should patch up your CCS cases. You should even do the latest step 2 NBMEs. I would do that. Guys, if you're coming to live stream, please give the video a like. I really appreciate it. Question: after doing AP Sons, after doing UWorld, CMS exams seem easy. I've said that like CMS and NBME are easier than UWorld. That's in my view. How do I interpret my performance on CMS forms? Averaging 75 to 85, aside from PEDS, I got a 65 on one of them. I mean, I've said at least like 35 out of 50, to pass. If you're getting like 40, you said 75 to 85. Okay. So 40 out of 50, 80, about 80%. So you're getting like 38 to 38 plus. You want to, just review the CMS really well. Okay. What matters is your ultimate objective performances on the NBME exams. Like, you're going to do all the CMS forms, then you're going to do 6 through 8, and you're going to get numerical scores that obviously are going to that's going to help. And that's objective. So I don't fixate on people's CMS forms. I fix their performances. I just say, whatever you're fucking getting on your CMS forms, we'll see how you perform on 6 through 8 when you finish. And if your 6 through 8 performances are shitty, like they're not where you want them to be, then I will, you're going to do the second pass the CMS forms anyway. And then you're going to come out the other end. You're going to do free 120 and 9 through 14. We'll see how your performances are then. And if you do, let's say, shitty on 9, 10, 11, you're not happy, I'm going to have you go back to fucking like QBank or something. Holy shit. Right? I'll have you do like QBank for a month, let's say. And then we'll come back to NBME 12. We'll see how you do. Someone just gave a super chat. I really appreciate it. Who is that? Stand and Deliver. I appreciate. Is that 50 Mexican pesos? Is that where you are, Stand and Deliver? Got it. You wrote YouTube super chat does not allow to change the currency unless I use a VPN. I just want to wish you a great day, Mike. Thanks, Stand and Deliver. That's your 3rd super chat. I appreciate it. See where I was in the. I just wanted to acknowledge you. I appreciate it. Let me see where I was. Okay. Jim Solak, boss, Dr. Mike, how to study for step 3. Didn't I just fucking answer that? I did. I guess I just like maybe read the same question twice or something. Oh no. Suraj Gosai asked about step 3, and then Jim Solak. Good to see you back, Jim. Dr. Mike, how to study for step 3. I've said you're going to go through all the CMS forms that you do for 2CK. You're going to go through all the step 2 NBME 6 through 14. You're going to do obviously the 1900 questions in UWorld for step 3. You're going to do the step 3 NBME, and you're going to do CCS cases. Okay. There's like another website that's not UWorld. That's way fucking cheaper for CCS cases that apparently are like better. Students like them better. I think it's like just ccscases.com or something literally simple like that. Um, by the way, Nakia, thanks for the $10 super chat. Really fucking appreciate it. I think that's like your third super chat as well. So I really appreciate it. Let me see. Johinger Ishon Kulov. Is it important gap year for match? I think what you're asking is, will taking a gap year affect your match likelihood, or will it be an impediment in some regard? I've voiced the opinion that I don't think it matters. Okay. I just think they look at your scores. Like real life occurs. Okay. So, like, students, when they're in the midst of like going through the med school pre match process, they think that if they take like 6 months off, a year off, like that's unexplained or something, that somehow like programs are going to give a fuck and that they're not going to like look favorably upon your application. I don't think so. I think they're just going to look at they're just going to you're a random fucking like, applicant. It's very impersonalized. They're just going to see a fucking score. That's literally like what they do. They just look straight at your fucking numbers, and you hit their like minimal threshold for numbers. They're going to probably look at like your class rank or something, which sucks because, some people are like better at tests like the USMLE, but like average-ish in school. That really fucking sucks. But like, they're going to look at those are the two main things they're going to look at. Okay. They don't look at like grades per se, because some schools are like, deflationary. They like give everyone bad fucking grades. Other schools inflate everyone fucking honors or something. So like, they're just going to look probably at class rank, and they're going to look at your 2CK. It's mainly your 2CK. That's like what levels the playing field. Um, they don't give a fuck about your like gap year. Like I've said this before, if it's like 3 years or something, if there's a long time, if it's like if it's 2 years or more, I'd say if it's like longer than 18 months, that can like be unusual. Okay. Because at that point, you just start to detrain. Like, so you've got to like, that could be potentially deleterious if it's like longer than 18 months. But I've said like you could literally have a year off just studying for USMLE step 2, like unexplained, and you get like a 266, and then you have a friend, all your other friends like didn't take a gap year, and they don't score 266, but you'll have a higher chance of matching. Some people might think that's unfair. Some people might say, oh well, you took a year off to study though. It's like, well, that's like isn't it like risk management? Right? It's like, well, if you're willing to take a year off and you're willing to, have it be where you're delaying the path to you hitting future attending income by an entire year, that's like, you're basically pulling strings in order, like you deserve a higher score then. Like, yeah, like it makes sense. I don't think that's unfair. It's like if someone's willing to take that on board, like the risk of what it means to take a gap year, or like they're saying I'm okay with not hitting attending income for a year later, and you study hardcore, you deserve a higher score. So that's the exchange. A lot of people don't want to take that. They don't want to engage in that exchange. Faze Sabir, I appreciate your super chat. That's very fucking nice of you. I appreciate it. Great Teachers Transform. Thank you for hosting the webinar. Is this a webinar? Is that what we call it? I don't like the word webinar. It sounds like too formal. Like webinar is like a word that like some like very like pompous, like Kaplan would host like a webinar or something. Like, guys, we're gonna have like the Kaplan webinar. I appreciate it, Fez. Fez. It's a cool name. Let's see where I was in the right. Why don't I find where I was in the chat now? Okay. Mohammed Abadi. After a year and a half of using FA while studying for step 1, now I am putting it in the garbage after using your pulmonary high yield PDF. I will memorize every word in the PDF. I hope the exam is similar to the NBME. I mean, My high yield pulmonary PDF is fucking amazing. Like, it's an excellent PDF. Zaki Abdi Fatah. Hello, I got 81% and made me 26. And offline NBMEs, my marks vary between 60 and 81% is safe to take after 45 days. That's high. That's really high. I'd want you to get the 3-digit score conversions, but obviously 81% and maybe 26 would be like getting 240s at least, 240s when 197's a pass. And I've said 205, 210 plus is like what we want. Sasha Logan. How soon after should I retake step one? I'm looking at November, December this year. Would that be enough time? The thing is, Sasha, I have a very short attention span for your history in the chat here. Like I think you said you had failed step one before. You're looking at November, December. Yeah, that's fine. You should be able to pass by then. I would normally like sit with you and come up with a plan to discuss how you're going to do that, manage that day by day. But it's going to be a lot of QBank you got to do prior to revisiting the NBMEs. Mary Hadamova. That's a cool name. Where are you from, Mary Hadamova? Hi, Dr. Mehlman. How many months approximately need to prepare for step two? I've said 4. 2 months-ish for UWorld or AMBOSS. 3 to 3.5 weeks for the first pass of all the CMS forms. NBME 6 through 8, that's 6 days. 3 to 3.5 weeks for another pass of all the CMS forms. Free 120, 9 through 14. So it's over 2 months, 9 weeks for post UWorld or AMBOSS. 2 months for UWorld or AMBOSS, so it's around 4 months plus. It's really just how quickly you can get through the QBank. It's not a rush. I've said minimum 40 questions per day, maximum 80 questions per day through QBank. And then you're going to, with the remaining time in the day, go through my PDFs, my YouTube MCQ playlist. Let's see. Fez Sabir. Thank you again for the super chat, Fez. I'm currently doing UWorld subject-wise wrongs first, then doing corrects. It takes 50 to 70 Qs per day and sprinkled with AMBOSS and CMS forms every week. What would you recommend that I change to be more effective? The answer is not doing CMS forms while you are doing UWorld. If you're post-grad and you are not on rotations, I would wait until after you finish UWorld in its entirety, QBank in its entirety. You said AMBOSS in there as well. I mean, I've said you don't have to do both, but when you hit around 4,000 questions, the combination of the two, then you do half of each or whatever, you can transition to the CMS forms. And that's what I'd recommend. I wouldn't intermix the CMS forms with the QBank. The things are sequential, okay? So you do QBank to prepare you for the CMS forms. You do the CMS forms to prepare you for the offline NBMEs 6 through 8. And then you go back to the CMS forms again to review and to prepare you ultimately for free 120 and 9 through 14, which those prepare you for the real USMLE. I mean, all fucking prepares you for the USMLE, but it's what it is. Div says, is there an option to change the lamp color to black? No, there's no like black light. There, how's that? You like that? Purple or blue? No, I like blue right now. It's good. There. We'll do blue. How's that, Div? This light's good. Like when I wake up, right? Like if my alarm goes off, I don't want to fucking wake up. You know what I do? I put on this blue, fucking bright blue light. You go into sleep, make the lights real dim, you put on the red light. So it's good. I didn't know this, but apparently it makes sense. But apparently a blue light suppresses melatonin. You know, apparently blue light does that. So, all right. Fatima Ismail, do you think 2.5 months can be enough for a good score for step 2? I don't think that's enough time. I've just fucking said 4 months. Sarah Garati, hello, Mike. My exam is August 1st, and I'm 65% done with UWorld. Should I stop that and then start the NBMEs? No. August 1st. Okay, you're saying for step 1. I did 1 week ago, and maybe 26, got 6-7%. Not bad. August 1st. Look, I'd have to say, is that the only NBME you did? That's what I'd want to know. as I already talked about how to go through the final month with Anki review and all that stuff. Um, but basically, the whole final month, I'd have you on just the NBME exams. That's what I prefer. Ideally, you would have finished all UWorld, but I would hold off on NBMEs until July, and then just do NBMEs like the whole all of July, starting with 20. Ahmed Alassi. Hi, Dr. Mike. What's up, Ahmed? Asan Asif, can you please tell me about the uh, about fundoscopic stuff, which PDF contains it? I haven't done an opt-out PDF yet. I need to. I was going to, but it's not like a priority. I just haven't made that a priority. Yay. Not Kanye, but yay. Hey, Mike, if I pass on step 2, is good enough for IM, FM, psych? Yes, I've said that. Is the second pass of CMS forms really necessary? Is first pass CMS all? I've said yes, second pass of CMS forms is necessary. No. I want you doing for step 2, you're going to do all the NBMEs and a second pass of all the CMS forms. Ahmed LSC, thank you for all your content. Ikra Mohammadi. Hello, Dr. Mehlman. If I do UWorld offline for CK, is it okay? Because I can't afford online subscription. It's fine. Assad, what's up, Doc? I'm working on getting through step 1 right now. Really interested in the tutoring option on your website. What can we expect in a 1-hour session? How about you fucking ask me to qualify? How's that sound? How about I spend my time giving you a thorough fucking just when someone inquires about what I can offer them through tutoring, I basically don't respond. I'm basically just just pick up hours and we'll chat. I really don't care. If someone if you need me to explain to you how I can assist you, I see that as I don't need to qualify that way. Carson, it's not an ego thing, but it's how much fucking content do I put out? You know what I'm saying? I put out a lot of fucking content. You should be able to gauge someone's capacity, understanding and knowledge base and confidence and conviction and the ability to teach. You should be able to gauge those things, which people clearly fucking do. People do. Yazid, hey Dr. Mike, hope you're doing well. You said that as long as we keep our daily quota of 40 to 80 questions, your audio KeyBank and PDFs, we can study whatever else we want. So I was wondering, what other resources would you recommend? My response to that is, how about you get through those fucking resources before you start inquiring about the other, right? Get through 40 in the morning, get through, you're going to have lunch. Then the afternoon evenings, I've said you can do another 40, titrate up to 80 maximum. Or yes, you're going to go through my PDFs, my YouTube MCQs. Get through all that stuff first. If you're not getting through that, what are you searching for other? But in truth, apart from that, it's not that I specifically recommend other resources. What it pertains to is occasionally I get students who really want to do some other resources. A student might come to me and they're like, oh, but I really like going through X videos or Sketchy or something, right? They have something else that they like looking at. And I don't tell them you can't do that. I just say, don't let that external resource come at the expense of the tetrad. That's what I say. So if you get through your 40 in the morning, you have your lunch break, and then maybe you get through 80, or you've done 20 pages of PDF reading. Maybe you've gone through 5 YouTube MCQs or something. If you've, done that, if you fulfilled that quota for a day, you have dinner with family or something. And then at night, you could do an hour of something else. I say, yeah, it's fine. You can, obviously you can knock out my Anki. I have that. Or you could, watch videos from something else. Yazid, by the way, I am the same Yazid Camille, just a different account, LOL. I didn't even fucking notice. Solha Fatima, thank you for your response. I did NVMe. Because there's I have a lot of people in my community with the same fucking name. That's why I don't process these things. There's tons of the same names. That makes sense, right? Solha Fatima, thank you for your response. I did maybe 25, 26, 27 for my last attempt. I was scoring around 193, 196, 200 respectively. Obviously, 197's passed for these last time. After taking NBME as per your advice, do I take a test after a month or two? Well, you failed 25 and 26, and you barely passed 27. So I don't want you touching any more NBMEs. What you're going to do is you're going to go back to QBank for an entire month. That's what you're going to do. UWorld Incorrects or Amboss for an entire month. 40 to 80 per day, as I've talked about. I would say 40 per day, and then you're going to do my PDFs. I want you to get through my PDFs, my YouTube MCQs, but definitely my PDFs. You got to remediate. You're going to do that until end of July. And then start of August, you're going to do, or end of July, you can, if I want to be generous about it, I want to be nice. I can say end of July, but start of August, you're going to do, you're going to start back up with NBMEs 25, 26, 27, which you just fucking did. And you're just using those for review because clearly, whatever your scores are on those in the future, we take them with a grain of salt because you just fucking did them. But you're just going to do them for review and you're still going to get a lot wrong. Then you're going to do NBMEs 20 through 24, free 120. Then you're going to do 28 through 31, and you're going to sit, into August. You'll sit like, the latter third of August. If you think that's, oh, Mike, I don't want to sit that far in the future. All right, don't take my advice. Like, I know how to get people to pass. Like, don't take my advice though. Let's see. Zaki Abdi Fatah. Could you please check our questions? What fucking question do you want me? What do you think I'm doing right now? What do you think I'm doing right this second? What have I been doing for the past hour and 1 hour, 1 minute and 34 seconds? I've been reading dumb questions here. Mustafa Muhammad, I haven't taken any path, farmer, micro. Should I just jump into UWorld or do something else to get some basics? No, I've said just start with UWorld right away. Ali H, any new PDFs, Ankis you're planning on sharing or selling, boss? My stuff's free. Ankis have to be sold because, literally 99.9% of what I put out is free. Okay. But am I planning anything new? Not immediately. It's mainly just because I want to spend this like summer doing other stuff, but like there will be other, obviously there will be other content like coming. Yes. I do things in bursts. If I gave a fuck and I spent like all my days, like, hardcore making resources, like there'd be a lot of fucking shit out there. It's just no interest. I need to do things in fluctuation to keep my own sanity, right? Let's see. Soman Avizov. I finished UWorld in tutor, but subject system mode instead of random. Is it bad influence on me? It's not a crisis. I just prefer students doing things in untimed tutor random. Sri Y, what is the best source for communication questions? I have a high yield communication ethics PDF under my free stuff tab on my website. Yazid, make God give you the patience needed for answering repetitive questions. Well, what do you think I'm doing right now? Clearly, I'm fucking patient enough to answer the same questions. Muhammad A. Mosen, my step 2 CK is years ago. You passed at 212, which of course was a 209 at the time, but it's 214 now. What are my chances for a match in IM? I'd say you're fine. Seriously, you're fine. You just need to pass. Reen Suri, RB, Rena S. Yeah, I got to do stacked review. Thank you so much, Dr. Mike. Yep. Kogatam, good to see you back. Good to see you back as well, Reen Sura. Kogatam, hi Mike, how are you? I'm a fan from India. Thanks, Kogatam. Volchi, can I ask you a med question? Yeah, laughable. NBME says diarrhea can cause metabolic alkalosis and acidosis. I thought it was only acidosis. It's acidosis. It's a normal anion-gut metabolic acidosis. Low pH, low bicarb. Up arrow for chloride, down arrow for potassium. It's not part of mud piles, so you know it's a normal anion-gut. NBME doesn't say it causes alkalosis. Maybe you read an explanation somewhere that was bogus. It causes a metabolic acidosis. Vomiting, of course. So laxatives are the same as diarrhea. That's a non-anion metabolic acidosis. As I just fucking said, down arrow, bicarb, pH, up arrow, chloride, down arrow, potassium. But for vomiting and for loop and thiazide abuse, they're the same, right? So up arrow, bicarb, pH, down arrow, K plus, and chloride. Let's see. Mojal, hi Mike, should I watch all OBGYN repro playlist for repro step 1? Yeah, you should. Fariha Fatima, do you recommend doing NBME 6 through 8 and 9 through 11 incorrect onc like step 1? I haven't specifically recommended it. You could, but I haven't specifically recommended it because there's copious CMS material. So I don't see it as necessary. You could though. There's nothing wrong with doing it. It's on the same spectrum as the type of question when someone says, should I do like, why can't I do NBME 19 or 18? Why start at 20 for step 1? Or why can't I do NBME 4? Or should I do the old free 120, not just the new one? Those types of questions, it's like you could. It's not a problem, but I just don't see it as necessary, There's always more that's possible. Ali H, what do you recommend for your audio cue bank? I am not a good audio listener and I am tempted to take notes when you eliminate the answer choices. Didn't you say this like in a prior live stream? Unless you I answered it and then you ducked out. I've said that the reason I make a variety of content is because people have different learning styles, right? Some people can't listen to videos. They don't like videos. They'll read my PDFs without a problem. Other people are flipped. They'll, they like videos or they don't like videos. So everyone's different. So it's fine. Just go through my PDFs then if you're not able to, process my audio queuing. Gentian Elazaj. Hi, Michael. Today I scored 65% of free 120. It's borderline. My exam is in October. Way too early. I don't know why you sat that early. What's your opinion? That's my opinion. I don't know why you sat free 120 so early. You wasted free 120. But it's not a bad score this early. And I don't know if you're talking about step 1 or step 2. You need to be on QBank right now. You're too early for like NBME assessments, or you could just get through the NBME assessments and move up your exam. That's also something you could do. Ayad Ali, which specialty were you interested in during med school? I liked family medicine the most by the time I left med school. If I practiced, I would have gone family medicine, Hawaii or Alaska. I like travel. That's why, right? That was actually one of the ways I knew that I didn't want to practice, is because if you had not offered, but I could have easily applied and I would have gotten in. I had good scores, but it's like Hawaii, and it's family medicine, right? That's the cool thing about having high scores, but like not wanting a competitive specialty is like you're like, cool, this is what I want, and I could get in anywhere pretty much. But if you had asked me like would I want to do family medicine in like New York, the answer was no. So I knew it wasn't about just like practicing. It was about location. Like I wanted to like travel. I want to go to Alaska, or I want to go to Hawaii. So for me, it had nothing to do with medicine. It was just, I want to travel. And so, that's always how I've been. Lived in Australia 7 years, live in Japan. I like, I guess like travel. That's what I like. Thank you for your response, Dr. Aga Khan. I got your point. Your content has always helped me in my USMLE journey. Thanks once again. That's an important question to ask yourself, though, you guys watching this, to sort of discern whether you are genuinely passionate, quote unquote, about a certain area. Like, would you want to do like vascular surgery? You say, I want to be a vascular surgeon. I'm so passionate. It's like, okay. Would you want to be a vascular surgeon if it meant you went to some non-prestigious or unprestigious institution in like Wyoming that no one knows about and it's not prestigious? Would you do vascular surgery if that were in practice like there? Would you? Or you can move to LA or somewhere else you want to go later. That's fine. But you have to go to like an institution that's not prestigious to get your training. Would you do that? And a lot of students would not do that because it's not about, for a lot of people, it's not about the specialty. It's the notion of like prestige and like money. And like, of course, that's like, that triggers some people because they don't want to admit to that, or they're in denial about it because they're seeking parental approval. So they got the blinders on, it's nothing derogatory. It's just like, it's like, let's be real. If pumping gas residency led to getting paid $700K a year as an attending, you get a lot of fucking people with like 270s who are like passionate, quote unquote, about pumping gas. So don't give me this bullshit about like you're passionate about dermatology. You don't give a fuck. It's just, you want your income, you want your like lifestyle. I mean, that's what it is. So, there's always like a prestige element, or money or like parental approval or something. India in particular has a lot of like, They push that. When you're the most populous country in the world, there's that mentality of survival. You got to be the best. You got to rise up. You get a lot of parental pressure to like be the best, be the smartest. Chess, spelling bees, a lot of that pressure as well. It's not just India. I'm just saying an example, right? China too, of course. Ahmed says the neuropsych PDF seems lacking. Thanks, Ahmed. You're right. The psych PDF is lacking because I don't give a fuck. I have no interest in like sitting and doing a psych PDF. I could spend a week, 2 weeks sitting at a cafe, right? Multiple cappuccinos, and I could write a fucking excellent psych PDF. I just don't give a fuck. And you said the neuro PDF is lacking. Well, you know what's not lacking? The fucking neuroanatomy PDF. Have you done that one? It's like I have a mega fucking neuroanatomy PDF that's like ultra fucking comprehensive. And then I've got sort of like a side neuro PDF that like, it's like, what do you want me to tell you? It's like extra. It's on the side. It's like saying you're fucking like this side salad alongside my fucking huge meal here is lacking. It's like, all right, well, what's the issue here? Lost where I was. Stand and deliver. Thank you, Mike. Well, thank you again, Nakia, and stand and deliver for the super chats. I really appreciate it. And Fez, thank you. I'm down at your chats now, so I'm reading the comments around them. Tesa Arias. I failed step 1. I need to retake by August. I did MEMS 2031 before taking step 1 the first time. Do you recommend I retake any of them? You need to retake by August. Yeah, you're going to redo all the MVMEs. Of course you are. Or should I just keep going through my UWorld? No. You're going to redo all the MVMEs 2031. Absolutely. That's sort of a lengthy discussion. I mean, that's a situation where I sit with a student one-on-one and I come up with a custom process. We discuss your history. That's more like, that requires calibration. But in short consolidation, yes, you're going to ideally go through all the NBMEs again. I'd say the reason that can require calibration is because I would move your test date potentially. You say, oh, I have to take it by August or whatever. Okay, then you're going to have to get through all the NBMEs again. But if I see you getting poor performances, even when we've revisited the NBMEs, I would postpone you into like September or something, and then we'd have you do more QBank and then come back to the NBMEs. So you kind of like done a few, did really shitty, do QBank for a month, come back to all the NBMEs. But ultimately, you got to get through all those NBME exams. Nakia Brooks, I appreciate you. Sticking to our plan, can't wait to say that I passed. Oh, maybe you can buy 2 boxes of tea now with $10. What can I get with $10? A ramen? Ramen? I can't get a ramen for $10 because like I always get like double or triple meat or something. I'm always like yeah, I could get some stuff for $10. Because $10, the exchange rate's good. In Japan, that gets me like, the exchange rate's really good right now with Japan. Kogotom, Livingstone, Amboss or UWorld. I buy a lot of like on Amazon, a lot of like protein chips and protein bars. I buy that stuff on Amazon. Like I obviously eat a lot of real food, but like it can go toward that as well. Kogotom, Livingstone, Amboss or UWorld. I've said that they're non-superior to each other in terms of score augmentation. You can do either or, it doesn't matter. Seriously, you can choose either or. Some people like one or the other. It's no problem. You can do either or. Claudia Gonzalez, what's meant by residency standardized screens for applicants? I don't know. I didn't mention that. If you're asking about something like you're quoting something arbitrary externally, residency standardized screens for applicants. I mean, what do they use? Scores? Like, Claudia, can you please elaborate on that? Claudia, are you from Guatemala? I feel like I remember, or did I just completely fucking make that up? Right? Like, I could just completely made that up. But I feel like in like one of the prior live streams, there was someone named Claudia from like Guatemala. It's like you're wrong. You're from like Honduras or something. I don't know. Fez Sabir. When I was in Australia, I dated a chick named Claudia from Ecuador, from Quito. Fez Sabir, my bad. Thanks for doing this. AP Sans, thanks for specific advice. I just got back to the library. You're the best. J Carzone. We are all in formal attire for your lecture series. That's hilarious. We're all in formal attire for your lecture series. Dr. Jaber, how important would you say is research for IMGs now? It's not, I don't think it's critical. Just as I said, for top institutions, it matters, but it's about impact. It's not about number of articles. Students fixate on number of articles. It's not. Anyone who actually does research knows it's not about number of articles. It's about, like, you could have one paper that's in Cell. Okay. Everyone's like Nature. Okay. It's not, you're not going to get a fucking paper in Nature. All right. Well, for Cell. But I mean, you could have, I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, you could have one paper in like a big journal or something, and you're a second author on it. And that's more impactful than, like, you know, you got your name first on like 14 fucking bullshit papers where you had a nice advisor in your lab, like you didn't do jack fucking shit. People know that. You know, at big institutions, you can't fool people. They'll know. And they'll look at your, they'll look at it if you're actually contending like for a spot, then they'll probe you on that shit as well. Div says, "Wow, I need that lamp in my life." I have a lava lamp too, as well, by the way, like right here. So I have a lava lamp. It's not on. It's not on right now though. Abdullah Abo Ahmed. Mike, are you in any sports? If yes, specify, buddy. Thanks for helping us, man. May Allah guide you. I mean, I go to the gym daily. I grew up playing tennis. That's like, I said that in like one of my prior streams. I'm really good at tennis. It's like, I went to tennis camp many years when I was younger, and I was like on the tennis team in high school. It's like, okay, if I just pick up a racket, I can pretty much just beat anybody else who plays tennis. That's what it is. Like, no, I'm not professional, clearly, but like I can pick up a racket and pretty much just like beat anyone in tennis. Um, and I was also like, I had a ping pong table in my house growing up, and I had a pool table in my house growing up, so I'm good at those as well. MS, what do you recommend NBME over UWorld in the last month? How many fucking times have I said do NBMEs in the last month? Right? Right? How many times have I answered that question? Like daily, how many times have I answered that question? Sasha Logan, are you taking on new students for tutoring on your site at the moment? I need a proper study plan. Winging it was an epic fail. Surprise, surprise. Rather than asking questions, how about you just pick up hours? Some people have like a big mouth as far as like that they're gonna pick up hours, and they don't. I never like read into, like, I get a lot of like tutoring requests. That's why I respond that way. Like, I'll get like 10 plus 15 requests a day for like people like, oh, I want tutoring or something. And I'm just like, cool, buy hours then. I don't even like respond apart from, I'm just like, cool, get hours. Like, they don't get hours. So like you learn that in like sales, clients and stuff, that the people who pick up hours are usually the people who you never hear from first. Like, I'll fucking wake up, check my email, and it'll be someone I've never fucking heard of in my entire life who's like picked up a package or something. That's how it works. It's how it is in sales. It's how it is in dating as well, actually, right? Someone might seem interested, they're not, and then someone like, you know, you don't even fucking know, you don't think they're interested, and then they are interested, right? That's how it is. That concept, it can be extrapolated into many life domains. MS, is it mitral stenosis or is it multiple sclerosis? What do you recommend, NBME over UL? I just fucking read that. I'm reading the same question again. I just like went backwards. I regressed. I literally regressed. I went backwards in the chat. Stephanie Noel, I'm sorry, this might be a silly question, but where do we find the NBME forms you always talk about? Do we just Google them? You could. They're in our Telegram group. They're in our Telegram group in the group files. Just go into group files. Don't ask me to hold your hand in terms of finding them. They're in the fucking group files. So you go in there and you hit the little magnifying glass and you type in like NBME 20 or NBME 24, and you'll see the question PDFs that are unanswered, and you'll see the answer PDFs that are clearly the answers. And I didn't write the fucking explanations in those like answer PDFs. Some people think like I wrote those shitty explanations. They're like, Mike, I don't understand this explanation. Like, I didn't fucking write it. Okay, it's like some rando. I don't fucking know. Like some random med student somewhere. Explanations are poor, okay? Better than zero, I guess, suppose, in most cases. Ali H, I hope you go viral. You are a great touch with tough love. You should make a video on how to study USMLE in 3 months, like the guy from India that went viral, like you said. Well, there's like a million fucking people who go viral from India and USMLE. I don't think I'll go viral because my titles are not clickbaity. All my titles are super fucking boring. Okay, like the one I put out today, on like stage versus grade, that's like as like buzzy, that's as like quote unquote clickbaity as it gets, and that's not clickbaity. I have boring fucking titles. I don't think anything I'll ever make will go viral. Um, but there's a million fucking people from India who are like viral for USMLE. Like, because the fact that I upload med content, the YouTube algorithm thinks like I want to see med content, which I don't. So I'll be like at the gym or something, and if a clip ends, something like music related, right? And then it'll just automatically go to like the next one sometimes on autoplay, and it will be some random fucking like cuck from like India or like, Pakistan or something. It's nothing racial. I'm just saying. It's like there'll be some random fucking dude who's like holding up an FA, um, and he's got like 49 videos and like 80K subs, and it's like, the fuck does that happen, right? Well, that's just how it works. I mean, it is what it is. If you want to go viral, all you have to do is hold up a video, like an FA. It's literally all you have to do. I mean, it's cuck advice. It's bad fucking advice. Dr. Jaber, when should I start doing the NVMEs? How long before step one? I've said a month out. Carla Reyes, hi Mike. I'm stuck. My NVMEs results are you got a 50% and 50% NVMe 25. So 50, 51, 55% on 25, 26, 27 respectively. I did 20 to 24 about the same. You're failing all of them, so you've got to postpone. I don't want you touching any more NVMEs right now. You said you have 2 months to sit for the exam. Well, what we're going to do is you're going to go back to fucking QBank, 40 a day, and you're going to be doing my PDFs hardcore. So 40 in the morning, you're going to take lunch, and then you're going to have the evening or the afternoon evening where you got to get through my high yield arrows. You got to get through cardiopulm, renal, gastro, heme. Okay. I want you to go through high yield derm. Obviously all the PDFs, but cardiopulm, renal, gastro, and heme, and high yield arrows. You're going to do those in the afternoon evenings for the next month, but the mornings you're going to do 40 questions from QBank, untimed tutor, random, blocks of 10, 4 blocks of 10. And then you said in 2 months, so end of August, presumably, or mid-August, we could have you entertain NVMe 28 at like end of July or something. Scores in the 50s, though, like that, we could be looking at 2 months minimum, 2 to 3 months. And it's also because I like students to have a buffer. It's not to say you couldn't pass in 2 months. I don't want you to YOLO in 2 months. I don't want it to be where like you're getting a 200 equivalent. That's not what I want. I want like a 205, 210 plus equivalent. Animal cruelty fighters. Hello. Shifu. Sasha Logan. I purchased your Oncudex a few days ago. Very concise and to the point. Suha Fatima. All right, I understand. I think I'll stick with your advice and take it by August 3rd, 4th week. Thank you for the patience, time, and your content. Susan Cabello or Cabello. Good to see you back, Susan. Is 2.5 months enough to prep for step 2? No, it's not. 4 months is what you need. So 2 months QBank, 3 to 3.5 weeks first pass CMS, 6 days for NVMe 6 through 8 offline, 3 to 3.5 weeks for a second pass of all the CMS, and then you're going to do free 120, NVMe's 9 through 14, 4 months plus. Abdullah Abohimed. Crazy fucking comment here. Students, verboseness, post Mehlman material, up arrow tangential, up arrow colloquial, up arrow jack fucking shit, up arrow total garbage. It's funny. It's hilarious, dude. That's funny. It's clever. It's clever. Abdullah, Arrows for verboseness. Animal cruelty fighters. Which like animals in particular? Animal cruelty fighters. Quick question. I keep hearing from people who just took step one who say the questions were super long and some longer than UWorld. Didn't you just fucking ask this like in yesterday's stream? Since you were saying step one looks more like NVMe than UWorld, could you comment? Yeah, I've said that some people are going to get long questions. Some people won't get long questions. There was someone yesterday in our chat who, it's just n equals one, but there was literally someone in a live stream yesterday who said they just fucking took step one and that they didn't have any long questions. That was their n equals one feedback, but someone else is going to come out and they're going to have different feedback. So I don't like, how does this apply to you? It doesn't change anything because you're still going to have to like do the questions anyway. I've said that when you're tackling long stems, you're going to glance at answer choices first, glance at the last couple lines, glance at all the lab values, glance up at the big fucking paragraph on top, just around like a wordless collage looking for keywords. And if you still can't get the answer after 5 to 7 seconds, then you're going to go back to the beginning and read. And you're going to just tag questions, flag questions, and move on after like a minute if you're still not making progress on a particular question. Equa Newer. Hello, Dr. Mike. How tough is step one and where to bring the motivation? Just sit, prepare, take the exam. How long to prepare for it from scratch? I'd say you need 3 months to prepare for step one. How tough is step one? Well, it's different for everybody, right? Moogle 900, 4 cats. Stephanie Noel. Where do you purchase my Anki? On my website under the pricing tab. Susan Cabello. In my last 2 NBMEs, I struggled with time and was not able to finish them properly. I do UWorld untimed. What do you recommend? If a student is really like struggling with time, like explicates that to me, I could potentially have them do QBank timed. Doing things timed is overrated in QBank in my view. In other words, you can do untimed tutor random your whole fucking like study process, and then you take the NVMEs and then you take the real deal and you're perfectly fine. But if I literally have a student who's like, no, Michael, like I've always struggled with time, it's really hard for me. I'm like, okay, fine. We can do like time blocks. If it's about the student's equanimity, and mental composure that he or she wants to practice pacing, like that's fine. You can do that. I've said numerous times that for macro retention, I prefer untimed tutor random mode. That's what I prefer for students. Guys, if you're new to the live stream, please give the video a like. I really appreciate it. Yay, as in Kanye, says, what do you recommend for perfectionist students who are discouraged and beat themselves up for being stupid when missing questions instead of appreciating and realizing that they learn from mistakes? I don't think it fucking matters. I think students have to, not be emotional. That's a quality. It's a screening mechanism for sure. As I talked about earlier, like the process of becoming a doctor and, seeing these exams is not just knowledge-based augmentation that you're actually learning material, but it's also psychologic in that, you develop a mental composure and, discipline and ability to handle stress. That's what it is. So if you're going to get emotional, if you're going to be effusive, and labile with regard to going through like the study process, then that can screen some people out in terms of, well, maybe they're not cut out to be practitioners who are healthcare practitioners who should be non-reactive, non-emotional. That doesn't mean non-empathetic. Empathy is different from being like labile and emotional. But you have to have stability, right? So, Mustafa, President Erdogan told me we need somebody to come over there and open 200 chicks in a given afternoon when coming to Turkey, Mike. It's hilarious. Well, I could open. That's not a big deal for me if I choose to do that. If I choose to introduce myself to 200 people in an afternoon, that's not a big deal for me if I choose to do that. Tai Tuan Nguyen. I took NBME Tai Tuan Nguyen. Are you in Vietnam or are you just Vietnamese? And if you're in Vietnam, are you in Hanoi or Saigon? Ho Chi Minh. I've been to Ho Chi Minh. And I lived in a Vietnamese homestay for a year. I don't know if you guys knew that. I lived with a Vietnamese family for a year in Australia. I've mentioned that before. That was my third year of medicine. I lived with a Vietnamese family. They didn't speak English. Only the mom spoke English, but I lived with 5 of them. And 4 of them, the grandmother slept on a bed in the lounge room, and then the mom, dad, son, and baby slept in one bedroom, and they slept on the floor. And then I slept in the other bedroom. That was my third year of medicine. I was 27, 36 now. Faye, I didn't even answer your fucking question. I just looked at your name, and then I went off on this whole fucking tangent about Vietnamese homestay, and I just completely bypassed your fucking question. I mean, it's 5:18 a.m. where I am. It's an hour and a half into the live stream. I took NBME 13 last month, 201, which was exceptionally low as compared to other NBMEs in UWSA 1. Do you think I should start NBME 14 this week? What do you mean exceptionally low? Your MBOS was 236. I'd want to know, have you gone through the CMS forms already? You have to go through the CMS forms, double pass. And have you done 6 through 12 NBMEs and free 120? Faye Kayarian. Dr. Mehlman, you're the reason I passed step 1 this year. I appreciate you and your contribution to med. You changed my life and the way I study. 3 exclamation points. Thanks, Faye. Really appreciate it. Real DH. My school wants a raw score of 70 on comp. It's high, very high. We want to get that score in order to sit for step 1. How would I go about doing that? Currently, I'm doing MBOS, QBank, and your PDFs. Thanks, Dr. Mellon. I've made videos on comp CBSE. You're just going to go nuclear, usually on the NBMEs. You're going to have to go through 20 to 31 for 120 the same exact way you would prepping for step 1, because there is no step 1 unless you pass comp. So we got to get you through the comp exam. If you're failing NBMEs, though, you can't do them. You got to do QBank. So I don't want you wasting. This is an important caveat. Is although I've said you got to go through all the NBME exams, 20 to 31 for 120, that's not synonymous with get 50% on all of them and fucking waste them. That's not what I want either. So you're going to do start to go through starting with form 20, 21, 22. But if you're not doing well in those NBMEs, I just pull you back and I say, we just have to work on QBank right now. But 70 is a high score. The only silver lining to that is if you do pass comp, then with a raw score 70 plus, then you are ready to sit step 1 virtually right away. If you increase the cutoff, you're increasing specificity, right? You're ruling in. It's similar to the USMLE NBME questions where they say they increase the cutoff for PSA and you're making the test more specific, less sensitive. That's what it is. So you're ruling in that you'll pass step 1 if you break 70 on comp. Just the problem is it's hard to fucking break 70 on comp. Have you ever met an Albanian girl? Says Gentian Elazash. I don't think so. I don't think so. Albania. It's next to Greece, isn't it? I've been to Greece many times. 3 times. I've been to Greece 3 times. I went to Greece this year. January. The only thing I know about Albania is that it shows up in an NBME question for tuberculosis. Albania and rural India are 2 locations NBME likes for tuberculosis. It likes Ireland for vitamin D deficiency and Iceland. Claudia Gonzalez, hi, I'm from Dominican Republic. I read on some website that some residency programs have standardized screening tests. So you're not from Guatemala, you're from the Dominican Republic. That's cool. I talked about one of my IG lives that when I was 21, no, when I was 20, I had a girlfriend from the Dominican Republic when I was in Boston who lived in my dorm. Let me see. I lost the chat fucking moved on me. You say, I was wondering if you had some knowledge about that, standardized screening programs. I don't. All that's going through my mind is like different, like Latin American countries and like girls maybe I've dated from those countries. That's literally the only thing going through my mind right now. Alvaro Tavares. Why is it mandatory to do UWorld if reading your PDFs and reviewing NBM means you get me to pass the exam? Because most people can't just pass without doing QBank. You need to do QBank. That's foundational. You know, there's always going to be people who are good test takers who could, in theory, like, do 15% of UWorld. Oh my God, I'm amazing. And then just sit and you pass. That's not the majority of people, nor do I recommend it. Even if you're a high score, I still recommend going through an entire QBank to build foundation. And remember, the best prep for step one is good. The fuck am I saying? The best prep for step two is solid step one prep. So if you shortchange your step one prep, even if you pass, you're at risk for having issues with step two. Students I have who are weaker for step two, oftentimes they have poor step one foundation. Like I'll have students for step two where they are getting murmur questions wrong. Like they don't know like what murmur refers to, like which, valvular abnormality. And it's like, well, isn't that just like basic step one, right? Most Sadiq, I passed in maybe 25 with 79%. It's very high. Your exam is in a few days. What's the safe margin for NBME 31? I mean, like 2/3. Anything above 70 is very good. 70 is good. Above 75, very good. I don't give a fuck about UWSA 2, as you asked about. Ragda Mohammed. Hello, I already printed the old PDF in cardio, GI, pulmonary, renal, but I found on the website there are new ones. You absolutely have to do the new ones. There's a big fucking reason why I updated those PDFs. They're fucking ace now. Okay? You're going to do those PDFs. Hannah Mitarov. Hey, Mike, thank you so much for your content for step one. Does the QBank score matter? Indicate if I should start the NBME. I don't give a fuck about your QBank scores. I've said this, whether you're doing shitty in QBank or whether you're doing well, you're just going to continue through the QBank, finish it, and then it's your NBME scores that matter. I don't give a fuck what your QBank scores are. I can use QBank scores as like a, tentative gauge, as far as a student's progress. If you're going through QBank and you tell me you're getting like 54%, I know you're failing, like NBMEs probably borderline. If you're getting 60s, I'm like, good, you're doing really well. If you're getting 40s, I'm like, they're tanking things, right? So, I mean, I can gauge, but I don't give a fuck. How's this? Anime Official says, how do you feel about being gay? Well, there's 2 points. One, I'm 100% straight. And I've said that in all my like live streams and my clips and stuff. 100% straight. But the second point is I'm just going to click on those 3 little dots next to your name right there. And then I'm going to block this user, hide this user from my channel from fucking forever. Hide user, block forever. Gone. I mean, what? You got your like 2 seconds of like what? I mean, there you go. Peace. No idea who the fuck you are. People think that's like an insult, right? Like, I mean, what is this? Like fucking like 9th grade, right? Joe Rahab Kalo says, greetings, doc. How should I use your PDFs for CK? And when should UWorld be stopped prior to the exam to start with the NBMEs? Well, if you're studying for CK, well, both step 1 and 2 CK, you should be doing my PDFs throughout QBank. For NBME exams, I said for step 1, that's going to be the whole final month. For 2 CK, you're going to finish UWorld. You're going to do all the CMS forms, 3 to 3.5 weeks. You're going to do NBME 6 through 8. You're going to do a double pass of all the CMS forms, another 3 to 3.5 weeks. Free 120, 9 through 14. Okay, that's how you're going to go through things. If you're post-grad, right? Gotham Kumar. Hi, I've done UWorld and my progress is not that good. And my offline NBME scores are just passing and I have to give step no matter what I do. Jean Paul, I'm done with 31% of UWorld, and you're scoring 60%. I'm planning to sit mid-October. Will I be ready, and is it enough time? Are you talking about step one or step two? I don't know. I'm assuming it's step one. 60% is not bad. I said anything 60 plus is like okay. You're just going to continue through QBank. October is a long way off, so just finish QBank. That's the focus. Get through 40 questions per day, untimed tutor random, 4 blocks of 10 in the morning, and then have lunch. And then you're going to do my free PDFs, my YouTube MCQs in the afternoon, evenings. Okay. And some days, if you don't feel like doing my PDFs or YouTube MCQs, you say, don't want to deal with this shit right now. You can titrate up to 80 questions in a day. You can do 40 questions in the afternoon, never more than 80 questions in a day. If you finish 80 in a day and you're going to do other study, you can do my YouTube MCQs. That's not the same as QBank. You know, it's more passive, more casual while you're at the gym or something, cleaning, cooking, brushing your teeth, flossing. You do my PDFs. Music for All says, I have a score of 188 and then made me 23. Okay, it's a fail. 2 days ago. When should I plan my step one? No. So you've got at least another month of QBank, bare fucking minimum. You're going to go through QBank until the end of July. And if you've already finished QBank, you're going to do UWorld Incorrects. You're going to go to AMBOSS. You got a month plus of QBank you need to do before touching an NBME, and you're going to restart with NBME 20. I don't know why you randomly chose 23. Like, I don't know how students like arrive, like what the thought matrix is in which a student is like just randomly choosing NBME 23. Start with 20. Animal cruelty fighters, cats mostly. Mohammed Eld. Aid or Eld? Aid. Hey doc, failed step one twice and year of graduation 2012. Is it still worth trying? Don't allow me to be the asshole who tells you like not to try, right? You could try. The chances aren't good though, because it's a long fucking way off from graduation and it's not good having a fail, clearly. So you're going to kind of have to do well in step two and you're going to have to do well in step three. And then you can entertain applying to the match. And if you don't, it's not the end of the world because, the USMLEs are accepted in other places as well, right? Like Israel accepts the USMLEs. There's where you could just practice elsewhere. It's not the end. It's not a big deal. Barcelona World says, where do you stand on taking, I lost where I was. I started reading the question, it just went away. Let's say, where do you stand on taking step two, CK, 1 month after step one? Way too soon. Not a good idea. I don't recommend that. Guys, if you're new to the live stream, please give the video a like. Really appreciate it. I've said 4 months for step two prep. That's what I've said. You said I didn't even start preparing for step one, but I feel like that would be the most efficient way. Am I wrong? As I just fucking said, step two, only 1 month after step one is way too soon. You need to give yourself 4 months. You're going to do 2 months of QBank, and then you're going to need 7 weeks, 6 to 7 weeks for all the CMS forms twice, and another 2+ weeks for all the NBMEs. Animal cruelty fighters, you are brilliant. Love you, X. At least you're a chick. I mean, like, right? Your icon's just like an animal, probably a cat, right? Moogle 900. What are my cats doing in your live chat? Come back, kittens. The fuck am I reading right now? Like, am I like, when you combine me being cracked out at 5:31 a.m. with like comments like that just like synergizes the degree to which I'm cracked out. Like that accelerates, like Red Bull XMD. Good to see you back. Mehlman, are you a practicing physician currently? I've said I'm not. I graduated med school, did my master's in Australia, but I do USMLE. I said I have no interest in being a cock doctor. Susan Cabello. Oh shit. Well, for me, I need to pass CCSE. That's the step two equivalent of the CVSE comp before sitting for step. Got to sit for CCSE by late September to sit for step two by October. Earliest November, the latest. Which tutoring package would you recommend? When students ask that question, it's like, it's not like it's $15 an hour. So if I say, pick up a big package, it's like, well, cool, but that's not feasible for a lot of people. So that's obviously a decision you're going to have to make. You can make that call. Okay. So, I'm not going to go too heavy into that right now. I want to keep the chat on like people's med questions. Barcelona World, I'm new here. What are the CMS forms? They're 50-question NBME subject-specific forms. So the same way you have an NBME, full-length NBME exams that are random mode, essentially, right? Because they're all different subjects, an agglomeration of all different subjects. Well, the CMS forms are subject-specific. So you got like 8 of them for internal medicine, surgery, pediatrics, obs-gyn. There's like 3 for FM. I think there's 7 for psych now. It's 2 for emergency. There's 8 for neuro. You got around like 50-ish forms. That's the point. And you can do those while you're on rotations. You can do them for subject specific while you're on rotations, or if you're post grad, you're going to do all those CMS forms twice, as well as all the NBME exams, 6 through 14, free 120 prior to your USMLE. Kanye says, the English vocabulary and grammar of all foreign students who are listening to you by virtue of your near perfect. That's you're joking, right? Like cracked out. Susan Cabello, by the way, grateful for the advice. Raxit Asodaria. I had done 96% of UWorld with 55% correct. Haven't done any NBMEs. Exam in 1 month. Which NBME should I choose? 20. You're going to do NBMEs 20 and 21 for step 1. You're going to do for step 2. You're not going to go to the NBMEs yet. If your exam is in 1 month, yeah, I'm just assuming for step 1. I'm not going to talk about step 2 for your answer. It's just going to be, yes, 20 through 24, free 120, 25 through 31. In this live stream already, I've talked in detail earlier on about how to go through the NBME exams. Let me see. Where was I? Tai Nguyen. I'm Saigonese. I never heard anyone use that as like a demonym, right? I never heard anyone say that. I'm Saigonese, but you're from Ho Chi Minh. You're from Saigon. Wow, glad you came to Vietnam. I went to the Mekong Delta. If you ever come to Vietnam one more time, please live stream your location. LOL. I wouldn't be able to live stream because it would be cool, right? You say, why not live stream while travel? It's because like I keep my roaming off. I've occasionally had it like where I accidentally use like mobile data when I'm abroad, and I get charged like laughable, obscene amounts of money for accidentally using data abroad. So I just like use Wi-Fi when I'm overseas. I don't bother with like trying to get like, prepaid nonsense. You could, but I just keep my mobile data off when I'm overseas. That is something to think about though, right? It's like, that'd be cool to do live streams. Be like, oh, I'm in this country, whatever. I'd have to be like at the gym in like Poland or something. Maybe I can mooch off their live stream. The fuck am I saying? Mooch off their Wi-Fi. Ryan V. Akhavan. Where can I find the NBME exams? In the Telegram group, yes. 2031, yes. And the CMS forms can be found there as well. Jasmine asks, I got a 62% of free 120 for step 1. Is that good? Not ideal. You want to get at least 2/3. Tai Nguyen. This is actually my second attempt. First attempt was 207. I only cleared NBMEs 9 through 13 and redo all those around 240, 250. I also am done with CMS. I am first pass, and your PDF's technically not done NBME 6 through 8. I'm starting to get cracked out. Let me see. If you guys have any non-med questions, you can like ask those at the bottom of the chat. Non-med questions. Let's see. Stephanie Noel, or I'll just end the chat soon. Stephanie Noel, tips for first-year med students when it comes to getting through the classes. Which outside resources do you recommend? I would say in first-year med, you could literally you could go through QBank. Okay, so you can choose like USMLE RX or AMBOSS for a first. You could do AMBOSS or USMLE RX in first year. I don't consider that USMLE prep. Okay, so I don't consider that USMLE prep while you're in first year. It's just general knowledge. And then in second year, when we commence your quote unquote USMLE prep, then you pick a Q bank like UWorld or Amboss. You say, well, if I'm going to choose UWorld or Amboss as non-superior to each other, why would I recommend RX in first year with Amboss? Like, why wouldn't it just be Amboss or UWorld in first year? It doesn't fucking matter, as I said, because it's first year. So it's very, very broad foundation. So you could do like Amboss in first year, yes. You could do UWorld in second year. Okay, so that's fine, but you got to just do QBank while you're in classes, MS1, MS2. Guys, if you have non-med questions, if you want, you can ask those. Well, I'm going to end the live stream probably pretty soon. I'm pretty cracked out. John Bradley. Hey, Dr. Mike, I did all UWorld 2CK during third year, and now I have 4 weeks of dedicated for step 2 next month. Gonna do all NBME exams for sure, but how much additional redo of UWorld would you recommend? All of UWorld for CK during third year, 4 weeks dedicated for step 2. You gotta do all the CMS forms. I want you to do 2. And there's no redo of UWorld, John Bradley. You gotta do 2 passes of all the CMS forms. Those 45 to 50 forms, you can do them all twice. Waleed Ahmed, I took the UWSA recently. Noticed that I got perfect on the immuno section. Your high yield immuno PDF is gold. That's great. That's good news, Waleed. Steve Zeldin, can you make more pediatric shelf prep videos, please? They're amazing. I will. I keep 2CK, like, I don't do 2CK titles in my videos almost always because they get lower views. Because you guys watching for step 1, there's those of you who are like assholes and you avoid videos I put out there, like anything potentially 2CK. So if like I put out a video that's like surgery, that's gastro, I'll just put gastro in the title. You open the clip, it happens to be like a 2CK-ish surgery question maybe, and I tell you instantaneously to relax. That's what I do. I'm just like, this is a 2CK question. If you're studying for step 1, relax. I'll tell you some highlight points, right? That's what I do. Add step 3 UWorld for preparation for step 2. Is that a good idea? No, you don't have to do that. That's actually a good question. You don't have to do UWorld step 3 for step 2. You don't have to do that because we have copious step 2 material already. It's actually the opposite. In other words, when you're prepping for step 3, you're not going to do step 2 UWorld, but you're going to do all the CMS forms that you've done for step 2. You don't have to do them twice for step 3, but I have everyone do for step 3. I have them do the CMS forms, and I have them do all the 2CK NBMEs 6 through 14. And obviously for step 3, you know, you can do the 1900 questions from UWorld that they have and the CCS cases. But no, you don't have to do step 3 UWorld for step 2. It's a bad fucking idea. Step 2 UWorld's already like 4,100 questions. Sebastian Hain, hey Dr. Mehlman, I've completed half of UWorld, scoring high mid 60s, half of UWorld. Passed my comp 71%, scored low 70%, MBME's 25, 26, 20, 21. I'm scheduled to sit step 1 August 8th. Is this enough time? I gotta like fucking reread that shit. Half of UWorld, 60% comp, 71%. You said you scored low 70%. MBME's 25, 26, 20, 21. That's not low. That's like good. Anything 70 or higher is like really good. I'm scheduled to sit step 1 August 8th. Yeah, it's enough time. What I would do is you got to make sure you finish 20 through 31, right? And free 120. If your exam is August 8th, what I would do is QBank until July 4th, literally until Independence Day. And then I would go back and I would redo NBME's 25, 26, 20, and 21 that you've already fucking done. I would do them again. And then I would do the NBMEs you haven't done. And I would go through all those. And if your scores are like good, you can just do hardcore review of those forms with Anki stacked review, as I've talked about. Or you could just move up your test. You could, if you wanted to, at that point. But you're going to do QBank until Independence Day, July 4th. And then, as I said, do 25, 26, 20, 21 again as though you've never done them before. And then you're going to go into 22, 23, 24, free 120, 27 through 31. Joy Rahab Kalo, I'm an MS4. Finished step 1, mid S3, CK now. Red Bull XMD, thanks, Mehlman. Just landed on your channel and trying to put others onto it. Take care. Thanks, Red Bull XMD. Hi, Dr. Mehlman. My step 2 CK is tomorrow, and I'm aiming for a 260 plus. I topped out at mid 250s on the last two NBMEs. 13, 14, any tips last minute? Your step 2 CK is tomorrow. I would chill at MI. If your step exam is literally tomorrow, I would chill. I would not have a busy day. You want to have a chill day the day before USMLE. Absolutely. Like, you do not want a heavy day. You don't want a heavy day. I've said, like, the day before, don't study past, like, 3 p.m. the latest. And then you want to have like a chill, go to the gym, have dinner with like family, watch a movie, like a happy movie in the evening, have like a lightish dinner, a couple slices of pizza, maybe, nothing heavy, nothing like spicy. You don't want to have like any issues the next day. Okay. That's how it was before my step one. Like, that was my day basically. Step two, I had flown to Melbourne. I was in Brisbane. I flew to Melbourne, in in Victoria, but the south of Australia, to sit my step two. And I like didn't study at all the day before. Like, I planned on like reading notes on the airplane. I didn't study. Like, I read like 10 minutes and then I just like stared out the window. Like, I didn't even sleep. I just like, and then I got to the hotel near my testing center in Melbourne, and I didn't do any study. I like walked around the area. It was like a sunny day. There was like a nice like there was like a nice like monument in the area, a nice park area. I walked around. I watched a movie in my hotel after, um, and I didn't do any study the day before CK. You gotta have like a chill day. How long do you think a PDF should take to skim as a last minute review? For example, GI is 90-ish pages. I think it's 93 pages, yeah. I mean, it'll take you a while. If your knowledge base is stronger, obviously you're going to get through the PDFs, quicker, but the PDFs can be hard to get through for sure. Okay, I passed step one on my first attempt. How important are shelf scores? Year 3 and 4 transcripts now that step one is pass fail. I passed step one on my first attempt. Shelf scores. Look, the importance of actual grades, I've said, is more about class rank. I've said that, like, having a good class rank is the second most important thing after your 2CK score, which is annoying, because obviously some people are good at, they can perform well in the USMLE, but you're more average at school. It sucks that way. But, like, unfortunately, right? It's just the game. It's the system. Like, what are we going to do? Unfortunately, like, you got to manage to do well on, like, your rotations and stuff and try to get a decent class rank. That's the most important thing after a good 2CK. But if you can ace 2CK and you have like a mediocre performance in school, like, let's say you just get all passes, nothing else, no high pass, no honors, just regular fucking passes, and you get like a 260 on step two, like, you're great. You're fucking great. You'll match over someone in your class who has like a 248, who like got high passes and even like an honors or two. Like, you'll match over them. Mustafa Muhammad, what's your sleep schedule? It's biphasic. It's I go to bed at like 8 a.m., maybe wake up at like 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. And then I have my day, and then uh, I eat a late dinner, usually like 9 p.m. I'll go to the gym and I'll have like the dinner at like 9 p.m. And then I'll nap after dinner for like usually 15 minutes or 20 minutes. And then I teach. If I don't sleep before I teach, then like I'm a fucking crackhead. I can caffeinate through sometimes, but like I usually need that like quick nap. That like is a huge thing for me, having that quick nap. Tai Nguyen, how do you stay so chill? It's like 5:47 a.m. That's what it is. I haven't slept yet. I haven't done like any live streams where I'm awake. I also go to the gym like on a daily basis to blow off my steam from those hours of questions, but I feel like I try hard and my scores don't really improve. I really admire your aura. Thanks, Tai Nguyen. Crazy fucking name. I can't pronounce. What are strategies to take 260 plus for 2CK? You're gonna go through UWorld or Amboss. You're going to go through all my high yield PDFs. You're going to go through my YouTube MCQ playlist. You're going to go through all the CMS forms twice. Joy, Rahab, Kayla, were you ever interested in clinical research? I was doing a PhD, but I hated it, and I converted it into an MPhil. An MPhil is in the British system. Like, Americans don't know what an MPhil is, but an MPhil is like considered like prestigious in the British system. It's above like a master's, like a regular master's. But I have an MPhil in biomedical engineering. I did research, but I hated it. I hated it. Have you ever been to Saudi Arabia? I haven't. Not been to Saudi Arabia. Joy Rahab Kalo. I never found interest in research, but has unfortunately become the new rhetoric to match in a competitive specialty. Well, it's just what it is, right? Like if you got a lot of people now who get like their 270 or whatever it's going to be, and then you got to deal with some ways to distinguish yourself from other people. That could be it. But as I said, don't stress about the number of articles. Don't stress about that. Its potential impact. As I've already said numerous times, people who are actually in research, they know like you could have an easy advisor or a lab that happens to like, you get your 24 papers, you're so amazing, but you did nothing. Versus someone who maybe got a second authorship on one paper and one poster, maybe that was bullshit, but it could have had more impact, right? So they're not going to fix it on number, I don't think. They're just going to look at, what's your general experience in research? And yeah, like what field were you doing research in? Do you have a research degree? I think I looked at match statistics like way back when I was in med school, because as I said, I was enrolled in a PhD originally before I walked with my MPhil because I hated the PhD, as I've said. But I remember looking at match statistics and like having a PhD applying into residency like didn't help significantly. It didn't. Like it wasn't like I was like pretty like astonished to see like it wasn't really like the NRMP match data or the NMRP, however the fuck you say it, but that match data has all that in there, like people who have advanced degrees, PhDs and stuff. And like you would think that that would be like a way to distinguish. What it tells you is like they care more about numbers than they do like your fucking PhD. That's what it matters. That's what it means. They just look like someone could have a 265 and like no research, and then someone's got like a 240 and a PhD, and they'll take the person who has a 265. So it's the truth at most places. Ahmed Saleh, I had 70% on 2 NBMEs. Should I schedule my exam after a month or wait till finish the remaining NBMEs? I would 70% is good. Ahmed, you just want to make sure you get through 20 through 31 for 120. That's what it is. Rosanary, what's a good NBME score for step 2 CK? You just have to pass. So I'd say 220 plus. So 214's pass, but I want to see 220 plus. Like for step 1, I said I look for 205, 210 plus equivalent to pass fail exam, but 197 internal for pass mark for step 1. 205, 210 plus. For step 2, 214 pass, I want a 220 plus. Universe Boss, what is a decent class rank range, Mehlman? Also, do you have an exercise schedule as well? Look, I mean, class rank, obviously higher the better, right? It just depends. It just depends on where you're applying to. Exercise schedule. I go to the gym like 5 days a week, I'd say. 5-6 days a week. Abdullah, are you a gamer by any chance? I don't game. I'm not a gamer. Knocking off Shrines of Zelda as you're listening. I don't game. I haven't played a video game in like 20 years. I don't think. Like not like formally. Like I played video games in high school until I was 16, and then I stopped instantly at 16. There was no transition for me. There was no like I started playing less. That wasn't the case. I just stopped playing instantaneously when I turned 16. Because going on 17 or so. And then, yeah, things changed for me drastically. Like, I was a nerd in high school until like senior year. Joy Raheb. I hate those students with, I don't know what you're asking. Oh, people who have their names on papers since undergrad. Well, there's going to be people you encounter where like they have their name, they have like, they promulgate their like high number of fucking papers. Um, but they did jack fucking shit and it just serves to like piss people off. I remember that when I was doing my like research as well. Like I had a friend who had like 24 papers doing some bullshit from like his, I don't know, his masters, and like it's like that he would like not he wouldn't stop talking about that. But it was like no one cares about your fucking like, what's your actual contribution? All right, so guys, it's been over 2 hours. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna end this live stream. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have some food and then I gotta shower and shave. That's what I'm gonna do. All right. So obviously I'm gonna do more of these live streams. All right, guys, and I'll see you guys later.